What's up, guys? Welcome back to Airbnb ABCs. Last year, around September of 2021, we purchased our second Airbnb cabin in the Gatlinburg Pigeon Forge market. This was actually our second cabin in 90 days back in 2021 because the prices were going up, the interest rates we knew were not going to stay low, so we doubled down quickly, bought our second Airbnb cabin. It is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,500 square foot cabin. It is the like the log cabin look. What people are coming down there to rent. And I'll leave a link up here somewhere where you guys can see the tour that I did of it. You can see the projections that we made as far as rental revenue, expenses, all those things. And you can kind of compare that to this video to see exactly what we ended up making. And that's what I want to talk with you guys today. We are going to go over all of the financials of this after being on the market, rented for 1 solid year, the income, the expenses that we had to pay to make that income, and just what I think about the entire this entire cabin, the returns, everything. But first, if you guys haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button down below so you don't miss anything that I put out on short-term rentals, Airbnbs, VRBOs, and be sure to hit the like button. That helps this video go forward in the YouTube algorithm. I'm not going to make you guys wait until the very end of this video to give you the entire profit number. We made, and this is gross profit, $75,166.87 in the year between October 1st, 2021 and October 1st, 2022. The reason that I did that was that is the first full year of information that we have since we put it in service around the middle to end of September. October to October was the first full year that we had this property on the market. Now, like I said, we bought this for $470,000. We used a 15% down investment loan, and that put our down payment at about $70,500. I'm going to do a lot of rounding here because getting into minute dollars and cents is tedious and it really doesn't make that much of a difference in the grand scheme of things. We had about another $5,000 in closing costs, making our acquisition price about $75,500 or so. We ended up putting about $20,000 more in this because what we had found was that this property was, when we purchased it, it was ugly, it was dirty, and when I say it was dirty, it was disgusting. It was had outdated furniture. I mean, we had magazines in this place that were from like the 1980s. It was nuts that people were actually paying to go down and rent this place and getting good reviews. This is not something that I would have been proud to put on the market. So altogether, we have about $95,000 in total wrapped up into this property. And that's a pretty good deal for where we were investing at the time. We were investing, prices were going up dramatically. There was very few 2-bedroom, 2-bath cabins on the market for less than $500,000 to $550,000. So getting something for $470,000, in my opinion, was quite a deal. Now, when we look at the gross income, that only tells half the story. And just, for your all's benefit, we did $36,912 through VRBO, and we did $38,254 through Airbnb. And to be honest with you, the first probably 6 months that it was on the market was dramatically Airbnb. And then as time went by, it was more VRBO. And I'm going to guess that the 22 to 23 numbers are going to be predominantly VRBO dominated. Why that happens is I'm not exactly clear, but it's probably because I've been using the VRBO boost points, and I'll leave a link to that as well up here so that if you guys aren't getting VRBO bookings, you may be able to look into that. For our expenses, there are 2 major expense items that come out of this. One are cleaning fees. We paid $11,444 in cleaning fees in that 12-month period, and that is your typical cleanings, like your average turnover cleanings, and that also includes deep cleanings that we did, and then anything else that we paid our cleaner to do, such as run errands, clean up messes, something like that. Those really are kind of fewer and far between. So that $11,400 is probably mostly just your average turnover cleans. The other major expense that we had was interest. Even on, I believe we have 4.375 interest rate on this investment loan. With the loan of almost $400,000, that ends up being a lot of interest, and we ended up paying $15,900 in interest. We also had repairs and maintenance of $8,857. And if I'm not mistaken, that includes a total replacement of the HVAC system. And I can actually go in here, we can break this down in my software and take a look. But I also think that that includes a well pump, and it does. We paid $5,300 to have the HVAC completely replaced, and we paid $2,600 to have the well pump replaced. So in total, with all the expenses that I have classified to this particular property, and that also includes all your utilities, cable, internet, et cetera, like that, lawn care, just anything that I was able to classify to this particular property, we had a total expense of $44,402.46 for a net profit of $30,764.44. And when you take that $30,700 or so, then divide that into our $95,000 that we had initially invested into it with the down payment, any other loan costs, the closing costs that includes, paying your insurance up front, etc. We ended up with a cash-on-cash return on the front end of 32%. That is a great return. Anyone that has been in any type of investing to get 32% cash-on-cash yearly return, it knows that is amazing. The S&P 500, for example, typically returns historically 10%. So, we were 3 times the S&P 500 return. Long-term rentals, they typically are doing right now, between 6 and maybe 15%. So we easily doubled or, even over quadrupled, depending on where your return is on that. And so that is awesome. And the best thing about this versus the stock market is that we are able to actually take money out of this and, bring it home to ourselves in the form of a paycheck of some sort, depending on how you all structure your payouts, either monthly, yearly, quarterly, whatever. The even better part about this is that on that $30,700 net profit, we are able to, first of all, we've deducted all of our deductions as far as expenses to get down to that number, but then there's also depreciation. And when I figured out our depreciation on this, I believe that we're going to be able to take about $17,000 of depreciation. Even though the building goes up in value, we still get to take depreciation because the IRS says that we can. And this is a big part about investing in real estate or anything else, is knowing the tax code, knowing the rules of the game so that you guys can play it as smart as possible. The amount that is going to be taxable at this point, just me on the front end before I hand it to my accountant, is only about $13,000 on this $75,000 gross income, because that's only on the front end income. And I've made videos about this, about where you're actually going to make most of your income if you invest in real estate, pretty much in general, but even Airbnb, VRBOs, and short terms. The 32% that we made on the front end is just kind of the icing on the cake, and that's what we get to take home in exchange for all of our efforts. The back end income is where we have made by far the most amount of money, and you'll find this in any real estate investment video or whatever. I know Rob channel talks about it. Lots of people talk about this. Appreciation and note pay down are what is getting us the most return on our money. When you look at the $470,000 purchase price that we had on that, then we put 20 or so into it. So you're into it for about $490 or so. What that home would have been worth when we got finished with it that day is probably somewhere between $550,000 and $600,000. And there was a point in time when prices were going way up where we might have been able to get $625,000, maybe $650,000 for it. But I think that today, as of November 2022, I still think that $550,000 to $600,000 purchase price would be fully in line with market prices based on comparables and based on the income that this is producing. And so we are looking at about an $80,000 to $130,000 gain in equity. When we pay our mortgage every month, we get note pay down. We pay about $560 to the principal right now because, we're in the front end of a 30-year mortgage and interest is front loaded on mortgages, but we still did about $6,720 in note pay down. For a total gain, if we look at the lower end of the appreciation, say it's only worth $550, so that's $80,000 worth of gain value. We take our $30,700 in net income. We add our $6,720 of note pay down. When you take that into the $95,000 that we had initially put down for this property, we're looking at a 124% total return in 1 year's time. And if that doesn't blow your mind, I don't really know what is. Now, granted, we are not able to necessarily get access to all the equity that's in this property without monetizing it in some form of maybe a cash out refinance, which would raise our rate considerably, a home equity line of credit, which is very hard to get right now on investment property, or 1031 exchanging it and just selling it and moving up into another property. But that doesn't mean that total return, that equity isn't there. This is where we have made the most money in our real estate investing careers, and it's how we have taken a very small investment of like $7,000 and rolled that in from property to property up to now owning about $2 million or so worth of, in this case, with that money, it's about $1.2 million of property from that initial about $7,000 investment over the course of about 10 years. And so if you've watched this far into the video, and some of these get a little long because we get deep into the numbers, you're probably thinking, well, you did that in 2021. That was ancient history. Prices are way up now. Interest rates are way up. Is this able to be done today? And the answer to that is absolutely. Lately, when we have been looking for cabins, we have been looking for things that are more turnkey, that don't need as much work. Me and my wife and my business partner, who's my dad, we spent 2 weeks about down there working on this place, getting things up to date, up to code, cleaning things, getting furniture replaced, putting together beds, doing mattresses, things of that nature. We put in a lot of sweat equity in order to get this return, and we have just kind of been looking for more turnkey rentals that don't need all of that lately because, we can afford it at this period of time. But there are ugly cabins all over Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, Sevierville, and if they've been on the market for a while and the sellers are realistic, you can start to get these down in the 400s as of late. You can get these in the low 500s, and you can come in, redo them, redo the decor, redo the furniture, take the drywall off, or take the wallpaper off the drywall and just paint it, neutral or earthy tones that will match the majority log or wood cabins, and that's very important, is make sure they're majority wood. You can do that and end up with an instantaneous gain in equity of $25,000 to $100,000 just right away, and have a cash flowing Airbnb rental cabin in the woods that you can even use for yourself for vacation. You can get instantaneous equity, and you can get into this real estate game and have a nice large equity cushion. So guys, what I want you to do is click on the links that I have right here on the screen. They're going to tell you all about our Airbnb business, how we run it remotely, the type of properties that we buy, and all the trials and tribulations of running a short-term rental business, either from afar or whatever. It's been an interesting couple of years. I appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you next time.